What's up, everybody? My name is Sebstian Bleak, and we are off the clock. What's going on today? I got my friend Mr. Stephen Burns on. What's up, Stephen Burns? How you doing?
Man, great to see you again.
There he is. There he is.
Just trying to stay cool down
Oh man,
in San Diego.
I feel you. You should go to the beach, bro. I just got back from the beach.
The weather is
feeling great.
Well, no, I would if I wasn't here with you. I mean, everybody knows Sebstian Bleak takes precedence.
Ah, dude, you're awesome, man. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let's see, bro. We can't see your face. Is that okay? You don't mind? I can see your amazing. I can see your amazing artwork, but we don't see your face. Is that cool? Are you all right?
That's cool.
All right, because we had to switch things up today. We're not using Skype, but Steven saved the day with Adobe Connect. Because if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't even be on right now. So thank you, Steven, for coming up with that. Let's see.
So we just had a little bit.
Yeah. But let's see. What's up, bro? So you down to talk about?
All right.
What are you up for? Are you up for anything in particular, or are you up for that talk that I threw your way earlier?
No. All right. Well, you know what? You had some requests, if I remember correctly, but I'm
right.
up for anything. I think one of your requests earlier were that has something to do about the save for web feature in Photoshop, right?
Yep.
If I remember correctly.
Yep, absolutely.
So, and I think, you want to explain what your dilemma was, and then I'll tackle it.
Yeah, sounds good. So, basically, it's a little bit of understanding when it comes to resolution and how it affects your file size. So, there's a couple different ways we could go about it. I'm actually just gonna throw out what happened and then hear what Steven has to say about it, because the way I look at it, bro, you're way more knowledgeable at this than I am, so I'm just curious to see what kind of feedback you have. So here is what we ran into. All right, so usually someone will give you some artwork that might have a resolution set to 300, and if they need you to optimize it or maybe bring the file size down, one of the first things people will do is actually go into image size, which you see here on your screen, and they will drop the resolution from 300 to 72, and that will result in a smaller file size. So then the challenge came, well, let me see if that's actually true. So when creating a new document, the thing we came up with is if you go into File, New, and if you pick any of your print presets that has, let's say, 300, a resolution set to 300 to start, and you create that file. Then you go back to File and use the same presets, but this time you change the resolution down to 72, and you save that file. Well, why are they both the exact same size? I know part of it has to do with that there's nothing in it, but what I'd like to do is kind of start that discussion going so we could have a better understanding of resolution and how it affects your file size. Does that sound nerdy enough?
Yep, that sounds fantastic. Okay, so first of all, what I did was I tell you what, let's do a simpler document. Let's just simplify this one. So I'm going to close this one out. All right, I do have a 300 ppi document here, but let's start with a challenging or tackling your issue with a new document. So your thought process was, here we got a file and we go to new document. So what I'm going to do, just make this simple, I'm going to go to a 5 by 5 inch document, and I'm going to pick 300 pixels per inch resolution. Mm-hmm. And I tell you what, we'll do a 10 by 10, just to let's make it a little bit larger. 10 by 10 at resolution of 300. Now I'm going to target create. So I'm in my full screen mode here. In other words, if I hit my F key on my keyboard, it allows you to toggle through your 3 different screen modes. Your standard screen mode, which is the first one you normally get, right down here in the bottom, it gives you document sizes. Currently, it says my document size is 25.7 megs. Okay, and that's at this 10 by 10 inch at 300 ppi. There's other options I can view this. I can go to document profiles, right down here, right next to the document size, the little drop arrow, document profile, document dimensions, measurement scales, all the other stuff. Be aware that those are there if you want to view your documents in other formats, but we're interested in document sizes. Okay, so it tells me that document is 25.7 megabytes right down here in the bottom left hand corner. Actually, let's pull this out. There we go. So it's easier for everybody to see here.
Awesome.
That right down here is a 25.7 megabytes. I can't really enlarge the screen, but hopefully you can see that. Now let's go back to File and New again. Get the same document size, but this time make it 72 dpi. All right, and click Create. Now this document size is 1.48 megabytes. So the document sizes are different. So I'm thinking what you may have done is this, and I'll do it with this original photograph here.
And just to compare apples to apples, can you do me a favor? Save both of those documents, and in the Finder, see what file size the Finder will tell you.
You got it.
Thanks,
right.
bro. Thanks for indulging me on that one.
Yeah, that makes sense. That'll help clear up a lot of things here. All right, so let's go over here. Let's go grab these here. Let's go ahead and bring them back. All right, so this one, there we go. So that's the 1.48 megabytes. So I'm going to save as. Let's go to my desktop and let's make a new folder and call it doc size comparison. Okay.
Thanks, bro.
Thanks.
All right. So now this is going to be a TIFF file, and it's best to do this with the TIFF file because JPEGs can all it's compressing, and it can compress differently for both files.
Yeah,
so
that's what we're finding.
Various results.
That's what we're finding with our friends that are also experimenting with this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So we're gonna call this one the 72 dpi. So 72 dpi. All right. And just so we all can see together, go to our desktop and we call this doc sizes, right? There we go. All right. So right there it's telling me this document size is, when it's basically compressed as a TIFF, it's 27 kilobytes, 27K.
Gotcha.
All right, let's go to the other.
Gotcha.
Here, and this is the 1.48 megabytes. And I'm going to save this out as a TIFF file. And we're going to call this one 300 DPI. Okay?
Dig it.
And we're going to go save as the same as the other. It's done. And then if I go to bridge, and now this is 148K. So it's larger.
Right on. So that's cool because right away I'm seeing that the file type is gonna have an effect on the file size because a couple people are trying out JPEGs. I did it as a PSD. You just did it as a TIFF. So it seems like how you
want to
go ahead.
For educational purposes,
yeah,
you don't want to do it with JPEGs because depending on the color that's in your image or the amount of color in your image, it's going to compress it differently. Some files more than others.
Yep, that's what was brought up in this discussion. Because I'm sorry, we got a bunch of pixel pals from all over the place kind of trying these things out. So this is great. Thanks, bro. What else you got? Let's go.
Okay.
I'm having fun. I'm learning a lot. This is great.
I mean, Okay, here's something else. I mean, since we're on the topic of this, like, saving for web, I think that's what this really is all about. Because a lot of people just go, let's go back to our image here. Let's close these out. I don't need them anymore.
Oh, and then, like,
So,
one
for
thing to
example,
point out, actually, that you taught me right now too, is I always looked at the file size down in the bottom left corner, and then when I would save it and look at it in the Finder, I'd wonder why is there a discrepancy in that file size, and you just cleared that up for me.
Yeah, because in a TIFF file format, for example, if I save this as a TIFF, a JPEGs are going to compress, right? Depending on the amount of information that's in that file, it's going to compress every single file differently. So you can't really anticipate one file against another, even if they are the exact same size file. Some files may have more color in it, other files may be black and white, so you may get various results in the JPEG compression. All right, so color is going to have more information, where black and white has a hell of a lot less information. Okay, so what I have a tendency in comparison, I have a tendency to go to Photoshop or TIFF. All right, that way it's a lossless compression format, so you can anticipate a little bit better where your file is going to go. Just as an example. I'm gonna save as here. So this is going to student work files. All right. So let's do this. I wanna grab another image as well. So I'm gonna use my Command or Control Shift O. That's gonna open up Bridge. That's my technique for Bridge. And let's go. That's a tip. Yeah.
Little pro tip out there.
Yeah. Command Control Shift O is your toggle between Bridge and Photoshop. Once you learn a new shortcut in Photoshop, most definitely use it every single time, because if you don't, you are going to forget.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do something exciting. Let's do a TIFF file. Let's save it for web.
Oh man.
And let's grab one of my little fine art images here. It's one of my little illustrations. There we go. Okay. And this is a TIFF file format. It's currently a 6 by what does that say? About 10 inches, 6 inches by 10 inches. And this is a 15.6 megabyte file. And for those, and just to make this easy for everybody to see, it's right there, document size. Okay. All right. I'm going to go ahead and just sticky attach it right over to here. Now, save for web. Now, when you were talking to me earlier today, you really wanted to go over the save for web concept, and you mentioned that what most people do is they know they want the file to be 72 dpi, and so they want to match the resolution like a 1280 by 640 or by pixels.
Yeah.
So most people go to image and image size, and they will just drop this down to 72.
Right. That's something I hear all over the place. Like they just go with it. That's all they do.
Just go with it, 72. Now remember, look at this here. My width and height and resolution are all connected. That means if I change one, the other is going to change in proportion. Therefore, I'm no longer changing the size. And we know that by up here under the image size, it says 15.6 megabytes. So no matter what I do, I can say 25 pixels per inch, right? It's still 15.6 megabytes because it in proportion, it changed the width and the height.
It's distributing them through a different area. Is that what?
That's right.
Okay, cool.
It's not distributing anything. It's just in terms of the dimensions, that's basically what it's doing. So if you're working at 72 dpi, that means this is going to be a 25 inch by 41 inch file. If I alter this to 300 ppi, which is your print resolution, which is what photographers and artists need to pay attention to, particularly if you're going to print out your work with your own Epson or Canon or inkjet printer, whatever you're using, you need to make darn sure that at the size you want, it must be 300 pixels per inch, or else you will see degradation.
Or else.
Okay. Or else. That's right. You'll see degradation, but that's kind of beginning level stuff, but it's kind of what we're kind of talking
Nah,
about
but
today.
I'm all about it, bro. It's all about the fundamentals. I think people kind of just rush through them, you know? So let's do it. Back to basics.
This is the basics. So that's the rule, everybody. Now, there are exceptions, and those exceptions may be laser printers or dye sublimation or something like that. But in general, any file that you give to your printer, third-party printer, your inkjet printer, you want to make damn sure you want a minimum of 300 ppi. So if you are a professional artist or photographer, whatever size you want to print out, we have a tendency to make sure we have more than that. For example, if I'm going to print, for example, a 24 by 30 print of my artwork, I'm not going to have 300 pixels per eye. I'm probably going to have 600 or 1200 pixels per inch, because then I know I have way more than enough information than I need, right?
Right.
So
right.
if I give the file to the printer to print, I simply downsize it. So downsizing does not degrade your image as long as it goes down to the size your printer needs. Okay, you don't want to upsize, because then you're interpolating. So right now what we're looking at is a true scan for a 6 by 10 inch at 300 pixels per inch. Okay. Now what's nice is if I do upsize, what upsizing is doing is Photoshop is looking at each individual pixel and adding more pixels around each pixel until it becomes the size you tell it to become. For example, let's say we're going to upsize this. In order to do so, we have to check this box down here called resample. You notice the little linking box has disappeared.
Yeah.
Right? So if I want these two to stay in proportion, I'll hit the link button. Therefore, whatever I change for width and height will change. Whichever one I change will change for the opposite, to keep it in proportion. In other words, it's not going to skew it or stretch it or any of that. But the resolution, I'm going to change. So say, for example, I want this to be, I don't want it to be 6 by 10. I want this to be a 30 by 40, right? Yeah. Now look at your window here. Okay, I'm going to make this 30 inches, and what right there is showing you what you're going to get if you blow this up. You see how it's blurry and the pixels are not looking all that great? Let's see if I can resize it like this. There we go. So we can resize it bigger. Let's give everybody a good idea what you're getting. All right, this is in comparison to what you had. You can see it's a little soft along the edges. It's giving you a preview of what you're going to get. Now, the current version of, there used to be programs by Lizard Tech, I think it was called. It was called Genuine Fractals, that artists and printers would go to resize things that are smaller to bigger, and it did it with acceptable losses. Yeah. In terms of image quality. Photoshop has gotten so good with this that printers are usually not going to Genuine Fractals. They're now just staying in Photoshop.
Okay, because I was actually just gonna ask you how you like their new, because they rewrote this whole thing, right? The whole image size window for that.
They rewrote the image size window, and this is drastically, it's vastly improved. So now we find that you notice that I don't think you can find Genuine Fractals in the market anymore. At least I haven't looked for it in a while. Now, if we go back to where we were, and I'm going to hit the Alt key, that gives me the reset button right down here. Another little tip. Alt will give you a reset in most of these little windows. Click it, it goes back to what you had. Now, see how sharp it looks now?
Yeah.
Sharper detail. That's because I didn't interpolate. Now, if I interpolate a little bit, say for example, let's go double. Instead of 6 inches across horizontal, let's go to 12 inches horizontal. And I want to make sure, hold on a second. Let's go back. I'm going to reset that again. I forgot to do something. I forgot to hit the resample, link those two, width and height, go up here instead of 6 inches, let's go to 12 inches. You see, you can, now, I can see a little bit of degradation, but it's not too bad. It's acceptable. They're acceptable losses. All right. Now, usually If you're going to downsize, I'm going to hold Alt again, hit the reset button. I'm going to hit my resample and connect those two. If I downsize, you're not going to lose any information. Okay? So, and you're downsizing, like you said, you want it for the web. Now, for the web, this is what I do. Now, if you go to image size, this is what I would do.
Okay.
But what I really do professionally, I'll show you the real way that most professionals resample their stuff for the web. It's usually not this way. It's not through image size. Image size is kind of the old way of doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's one of those things that like it's been around for so long that this is the way that it's taught.
Right.
So I'd love to see the new way.
You go right up here. Yeah. Yeah, well, right up here is giving you your pixels that you have now. You want to pay attention. So instead of using width and height in inches, I can drop right down here and go to pixels. Boom, right there. And set it up for pixel. Say I want 600 by 800. All right, so 800, well, yeah, 600 by 800. So 600. And there it is. It automatically resizes it to 991. And you don't need to worry about the resolution that for 300 because this is your real resolution. Now before, remember, let's see, my document size was 15.6 megabytes bottom. So if I go here and click OK, look, it came to control 0 to resize. See, now it's 1.7 megabytes.
Yeah, it's a big dip.
Does that make sense? Right. That's right. Because we threw away all those pixels that we needed to maintain a higher quality image in favor of something that we just need to travel very quickly over the telephone line on the web, which is much smaller.
Right, I feel that. So
all right, so that's the old way of doing things. I'm going to hit Command or Control Z for undo to go back to my original high resolution size.
Let's get the
new way.
The new and improved.
This new way I'm about to show you has been new and improved a bunch of versions ago. just saying. Okay. So you go to File menu, Export, Save for Web.
All right.
Or Alt Shift Control S, which is what I use. Okay. So Alt, all three modifiers, Command or Control, Alt or Option, Shift, and then S. And it brings up the Save for Web dialog window. Now, by default, you have your original image here. So I'm going to scroll it around so we can see. There's your original image there. We can move it around with our mouse, and it's giving you the original. It's giving you now that currently it's PNG. Now that's by default, but we're going to change that in just a moment. So we got a PNG 24, and we've got a JPEG, and we have another version. So this JPEG, I think this is 30, 30 quality, and this one's 10 quality. And it's giving you a visual all side by side of what you're getting for each. So for this one here, and if I click on each window, here are my preferences on the side that represent what I'm going to get with that particular format and with that particular quality. So let's just focus on JPEG, all right? Okay. So here's my original here, okay? And my preset here drops down. I have original checked right up here at the very top. Go to the second window, and I want JPEG. So I'm gonna click on JPEG low. Okay, low quality JPEG in comparison to my original quality. Let's kind of stretch this out a little bit. And if I stretch it out, it changes everything, so everything is tiled side by side. So instead of the 4 up, I've got the 4 cross. So 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So number 4. So we did JPEG low. All right. So for this one, I'm gonna click on this third window, and I'm gonna say JPEG medium, which it already does it by default. Or go to the very last one, and I'm gonna say JPEG high, which is going to be high quality JPEG. And each of those JPEGs have your quality is actually determined by the quality slider here. If you drop it down, I have a slider. So for the high, I can go all the way up to 100. And let's do this one next to it. Let's change that to low, all right? And I'm going to bring it all the way down to really low quality, 0, and do a side-by-side comparison.
Oh, that
if I hit Command plus, if I hit Command plus, I can see side-by-side the low quality and a high quality here. So I can change it for each of these windows to go side by side. I can even mix and match file formats. Say for example, let's do, instead of 4 up, let's do 2 up. Okay. And there's my original quality. Actually, this one here is 2 up. That's 2 up, right? So this one here is going to be my, gotta go 2 up. All right. So click on here. There's my original as it shows here in the top right. Click over here, and I can do JPEG high quality, which I'm going to see. So you can see a difference. You can see the pixelation going on here, or I can do the low. That's the high quality 10, a low quality 10. Let's go to high quality 100. There, it instantly changes to a much better looking image in terms of detail and resolution. I can also choose to decide, okay, what does a PNG 8 look like in comparison to my original? See all the junk that's in there that just popped up, right? You say, I don't like PNG 8. What about PNG 24? Oh, that's better. Okay, you can see this a little darker looking. The tones is not as great or as we have over here in the original image, but it's not too bad. Yeah, so we have GIF formats and PNG and JPEG. You know, those are our options there. Okay. So if you just want to work with one image, you want to go 2 up, or you may want to work with several different options just to see what the options are with your different formats. Maybe you don't have a choice. It's going to be JPEG, and you want your finer imagery to look good on the web. It'll take a little longer to download, but maybe what you want to do is go to like a JPEG and maybe not 100, maybe 80, 81, somewhere around there on up, and see what you can tolerate. So this is just really testing out what your tolerance is for the final visual results of your websites or your graphics on your website online.
So I dig that one. This one also, I like it because you can compare them side by side. I also noticed this is the legacy version, so I was going to ask you, do you prefer this older version over the new export window, the one that allows you to kind of like export in various sizes and stuff like that?
All right, so let's see if now that I gotta remember where it is. So was that the export? I always forget where I put that one. Is that the export preferences?
I think that's the one that you set for all of them, but then just go to export as.
Right, to there.
There we go. So
there we go. That's it. There we go. Yeah.
Because I do like being able to spit out a couple different file types and sizes, but I do miss having the 4 up or the side by side.
Right, well, you can see it. What's nice about the 4 up is for those who are kind of beginning level at Photoshop or creating graphics for their web, they get to see it.
Yeah.
They get to visually see what Photoshop's going to give them. This here, you already experienced with this stuff. It's and you can alter your sizes here very quickly to your left, or you can come over here and get specific dimensions that you need by cubic. Metadata, what metadata you want associated with it, embed a color profile if you have one associated with it. We can zoom in. I guess I'm using my control. Let's see. I wonder if my control plus will work here. That's interesting.
And then I got one more question for you before we wrap it up.
Sure, go for it.
You ready? All right, cool.
Yeah, go for it.
So since we've been talking about resolution and file size, and you're an artist, and I wrote this down during like the middle of the section there. So if if I'm an artist and I'm getting ready to create a painting of, something I'm gonna draw, what file size do you recommend creating? I usually tell people, do it at the size that you want with higher resolution. But
Right.
I would ask you, what's like a common print size, like that, something kind of affordable, like would that be, like a 18 by 20 or 8 by 10 or something like that, or?
Okay, now you're gonna get varying answers on that, because if you're doing something for the movie industry, they simply want 4K, 2K, 3K, or 4K, just something large enough that's gonna fit on the big screen.
That's awesome. And we do have that as a preset now, right?
Yeah, you all have that in there. So if we go to Image, New, and you've got that for film and video right there, right? HDTV, 1080. So when you're working in the movie industry, you're going to be working according to the resolution that the film is being made for.
Awesome.
Right? Is it going to be a 4K, 8K, whatever they're going to do? That's what you're going to work with. Now, for fine artists,
yes,
we're working on canvases, right? Big shit.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
You want 32 by 40, right?
Oh, right on. Right on.
Well, you got to work big.
Let's do it. So how would you set that up? I want to know the Stephen Burns recipe. You know what I mean? Like, I know everybody's going to tell me a different thing, but, I trust you, man. I want to hear what you got. What's your recipe?
Right. Well, okay. Let me create something.
Because that's just something that I run into often. People will be like, "Where do I start? What size should I make it?" So, I'd say ask a bunch of people and see which one fits your workflow. So, what you got?
Let's see. Original image. There we go. Okay. Here's my original images. Okay. Can find one in here.
Sorry, bro. Looks like you're dipping out over there on your end. Let's see. Give you a couple seconds to see if you come back. The last thing the screen froze up on was your original images inside of Bridge. Shoot, I'm gonna turn up some music real quick.
Yeah, this one might work real well.
There we go.
This is 160 different. All right. You got it? All right, you good?
Yeah, we're good.
All right, let's grab this one. Good. Because scratch disk is full. Oh, don't tell me that.
Oh, that's cool. So, hey, that's great. So, what does that mean?
I haven't cleaned my hard.
Dang, bro, you don't have enough room.
What that means is, let's see if I can get it open now. Oh, there we go. I had too many high-res images open. And what it means is, let's go to my Windows Explorer.
Because I always look at it like Photoshop needs more elbow room.
Which is my C drive. Well, it's not Photoshop. It's me.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, scratch disk space left on my C drive, which is nothing.
Yep.
And on my D drive, I think I have even less. So let me check that out. So, okay, I've got 8 gigabytes on my D drive.
Yep. And right now your site is lagging. I don't know if you can hear me, bro. Your screen's freezing up a bit. Let's see.
Right? All right, so what I can do is this. So it's but 8 gig available there. So if I have a problem with C drive, I got enough to do this presentation. I'm gonna click it here. All right, so we look all this. These are all my different layers. So this was a fairly small file size because I was creating it for a particular presentation.
Mm-hmm.
But let's see how large this is. Let's see. This is 338 megabytes. So if I pull this up here so you guys can see. It's 338 megabytes with layers to the right.
Mm-hmm.
If I flatten this down, it'll only be 10 megabytes.
Got you.
So that means I've got a lot of images in here. So when I'm creating, I start with the size. I usually start with something around 20 by 30. In this example, it's smaller, but, well, no. I start with somewhere around 16 inches by leadfall, 16 by 24, 16 by 20. And the reason I start with that size is because if I'm going to use photographic imagery, I know my camera has the ability to give me a really good, a single image will give me a good 16 by 20 file size at 300 ppi. But if I'm going to use painting techniques and photo compositing, that's where I'm going to start resizing my canvas. So if this is like 5 inches by 8 inches, and I decide to go to the crop tool and I want to add more stuff up here, or more planets or something, I'm going to stretch this out. You see all the more stuff I have back here?
Yeah.
I can stretch this out. Now, because whenever I'm creating, I'm never creating for a particular format ever.
Got you.
Right? I'm creating where my heart tells me to go as a fine artist.
Love that.
So if I like this design, say I want this to stretch like this and do something with that sky like so, or whatever, right? I can hit the enter key and see it's giving me a
It's all good. It's all good. It's all good.
You guys get the point.
I get the point. Can you leave me on one last thing to wrap it up? Can you just create a new document as if you were gonna do a file new and just show us what that window looks like?
Let's close this out so I'm not screwing up memory here. So if I'm going to make a new document, say I want a horizontal, a landscape format, I can go here and I just go over to here. I say, you know what? I want this to be at least 24 inches long by at least I'll say 18 inches high.
Nice.
Right? And then click it, right? And there's my beginning. It does not mean I'm going to stay at this format. This could change. And in most cases, I end up extending it out, cropping it outwards, so I'm getting a much bigger file size than I originally anticipated. So under my image menu, I've got, now here's let's go over here. Let's go from pixels to inches. All right, so I made a mistake. Let me just close this out. I made a mistake. I wasn't paying attention. You guys probably caught me on this.
All right, because I had a question. Yeah. There it is. Yeah. I was going to ask you about the resolution. Yeah, there we go.
There we go. So currently, I have a 111 megabyte file size. So when I start adding painting, all right, if I come over here and start adding some stuff, I hit my B key for my brush, and maybe I'll go to something like this, and I'll get a little larger. Maybe I'll go, I don't know. All right, and the minute I start adding more layers, and duplicating layers, your document size is going to change.
Yeah.
All right,
Absolutely.
So you want to make sure you have as much RAM as possible. This system, this is an Alienware, and this system has 32 gigs of RAM built into it.
Woo.
Yeah, and it's got a processor that is running at 4.1 gigahertz.
That's
quad
fast.
core.
That's fast.
Although I'm looking at octa-core. I'm looking at an octa-core processor. So, yeah.
Yeah, you've always got some good machines on deck over there, bro. Well, all right, man. So that's pretty much all I have for you, bro. So let's go ahead and wrap it up if you're down with it.
All right.
And
I'm down with that.
all right, cool, man. So as you can see over there on the bottom right section of your screen, right now scrolling across, you're gonna see the name of the website where you could catch Mr. Stephen Burns, check out some of his classes, and then just go bug him on social media or something, see what he's up to. He likes that. All right.
Check out my YouTube site, and what I'll do is I'm going to put my YouTube site in the Adobe Connect window. Well, after we're done.
Okay, cool.
And I'll let you send it out to your followers.
Awesome. I'm with that. All right, bro. Let's go get some grub, man. I need some tacos. I haven't eaten anything all day, man. All right.
Again, I know you get.
I'm all about tacos and burgers. Tacos and burgers, bro. That's nice.
But you're in shape too, man. You like, oh my gosh, you're in shape.
Woo!
I've got to get looking like you, and I'll be like happy. I gotta get the app.